My name is Victoria Jardine and I'm a partner at Anthony Collins Solicitors. I'm delighted to be joined today by Heather Ashton, who is from 13 Housing Group, which is one of our largest housing association clients. Thank you so much for joining me today, Heather. Can I just ask you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what 13 does?
Thanks, Victoria. So I'm Heather Ashton from 13 Housing Group based in the North East, primarily in Teesside, but operating across the North East and Yorkshire. We have around 34,000 properties. We are a registered landlord, but we offer a lot of care and support packages as well.
So if we look back 11 months ago, March 2020, how much of an upheaval did the pandemic, and specifically going into lockdown quite so quickly, cause 13 Housing Group?
I think, to be fair, it's a story of two halves. So from an office perspective, we were really well placed. We had moved to a very agile way of working where all colleagues had the relevant equipment to allow them to work anywhere. So when it came to those colleagues that could be moved to home working, that was done really quickly. When it comes to then services to customers, clearly that was a bigger impact and did take some time. Our primary objective was to make sure that everybody was safe, colleagues and customers alike. And what we did as an executive team was we met daily to work through how we would best deliver those services while keeping everybody safe. We more or less shut down anything that we had to do physically. We maintained welfare calls and obviously we maintained contact where we needed to. But it did take some time then as the guidance became clearer and really understand how we needed to then operate as an organisation whilst dealing with the impact of the pandemic.
And how did all of the uncertainty that came from that affect your customers and also your team within the organisation?
Well, I think the ongoing uncertainty, and obviously now being in this third lockdown, it's just that levels of anxiety are growing, that inability to actually have a normal day-to-day life, and we've had to adopt and adapt very differently. And I think what we are seeing now is a little bit more anxiety. Yes, there's a bit more understanding in terms of what we can and can't do. We offer lots of support to colleagues and to customers, welfare calls, all of those things that we picked up quite quickly during the first lockdown, and they work very well. But what we are seeing now is a sense of fatigue, not being able to connect in the way that you could connect before. And customers are sort of fed up of the situation as well.
And of course, the last 11 months have just proved challenge after challenge, haven't they? But there is real cause for optimism in the future now. And when you reflect on what you've been through and what the organisation has been through, how do you feel about your team within 13 and what do you think the future holds for you?
What I'm always very proud of is how everybody at 13 just comes together. But I think the thing I would really focus on is what we've learned over the last 11 months, how we've adopted and adapted to this new way of working. And it's been brilliant in terms of seeing how people have used different ways to stay connected, different ways just to support each other and support our customers. And I think, looking forward, I don't envisage that we will have the same operating model. It will be very different. And there's so much that colleagues have delivered over the last 11 months that we should now really harness and learn from and take with us into the future in a way that we've really learned from the last 11 months, which is fantastic.
One of the key elements of the COVID response service that we launched was cross-sharing advice from multiple stakeholders. How effective was this and the support that it gave you in helping 13 keep on top of the many and rapidly emerging issues that you were having to deal with?
It was fantastic and it was really, really valuable. It was really helpful to see the questions that other people were asking, the challenges that other people were facing. It gave me an opportunity then to sort of share that with my exec team, share it with the board, and it helped us to really think about, have we thought of everything? And there was so much guidance coming out, so just to have a clear sense on what others were facing and how people were approaching.
Heather, I just want to thank you for your time today. It's been really interesting to catch up with you, and we wish you and 13 Group every success in the future.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure telling you about 13 and just how we've coped over the last year or so. So thank you.